Coming up on RaceSpotTV, NASCAR Race Night returns for a third week this season with the 2017 NASCAR iRacing Pro Invitational Series. Drivers from NASCAR's Monster Energy Cup and Xfinity Series ranks are with us tonight, along with many more, as we go racing from the Monster Mile, Dover International Speedway. It all starts next, right here on iRacing Live.
It's where fans shout. It's where cars scream. Where every color is represented, yet it's all red, white, and blue. It's high-flying, eye-popping, rip-roaring fun. The kind you wait for. The kind you live for. The kind you never, ever forget. Dover International Speedway. Experience traditions. Cemented in Dover.
Live tonight from Dover International Speedway, RaceSpotTV is happy to say good evening, sim racing fans, and welcome to race number 3 of the 2017 NASCAR iRacing Pro Invitational Series on iRacing Live and Fans Choice TV. We're happy that you're with us tonight from the Monster Mile as we welcome you topside to the RaceSpotTV booth. Myself, Evan Pasoko, and Cisco Scaramuza with you, with our director Hugo Luis downstairs as we go racing for 30 laps tonight. Cisco at Dover. Cars on track, and we'll get to the names in which that will be racing in this one in just a moment, and also have an opportunity to chat with a couple of those names before the green flag drops in just a little bit under 10 minutes here. But happy to be back with this series for the third race of 4 on 2017, and as it was last week as well, a couple of familiar faces and a couple of new ones too.
Yeah, this series has been a lot of fun to watch here, Evan, and we're at the Monster Mile, one of the toughest tracks on the NASCAR circuit, Dover, and this is just going to be a fantastic race. And one thing to note, these guys going out there, and doesn't look like we're seeing ties out there this evening, so that's going to throw in a little bit of a wrench. I'll tell you what, Denny Hamlin's sitting atop the qualifying board right now. That's pretty cool.
Darrell Wallace called Ty Majeski the Martin Truex of iRacing. He won a couple of weeks ago from Iowa, not here tonight. Denny Hamlin is currently fastest in the practice charts as these drivers get set to go racing in just a little bit. Top to bottom 11 drivers so far into this one, and want to remind you that NASCAR Night is going to be with you for the next couple of hours, a good amount of time here on RaceSpotTV at iRacing Live. Also want to say hi to everybody tuned in over on Fans Choice TV and the Motor Racing Network, as once this race is concluded at 9 o'clock Eastern Time, the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series continues into their second to last race on the season. So we don't want you to miss that one coming up right after this. That'll be 200 laps beginning at 9 o'clock Eastern. But the focus is on this 30-lap dash here, Cisco. 10 laps shorter, in fact, than what we saw 2 weeks ago in our last race.
No, absolutely, Evan, and you're getting ready to stand by with a couple guys from the NASCAR Xfinity Series, and we'll be talking to them in a little bit. But yeah, a little bit shorter of a race here, but this race does a lot to those tires, and we'll talk about that more when it comes to the peak race later on. This is a little more of a sprint, but nonetheless, still going to be a lot of fun, and some very aggressive and hungry drivers going to be out there today.
And one of the drivers talking about how we're running in these NASCAR Xfinity Series machines is a driver who is very familiar with these cars in his own right. And we'll see if we can get the driver of the number 7 on the radio, Justin Allgaier. Justin, you got us?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Well, hey, thanks for spending your evening with us as a part of this NASCAR Pro Invitational. These Xfinity Series machines, you have quite some experience in. You're in your 8th season in these Xfinity Series cars, and actually a winner in the playoffs just a couple of weeks ago. So currently at the top of all of that. So I guess first off, congratulations to you on that, but welcome to the sim. I know that Dover is a racetrack that you guys are geared up for here, and it's a racetrack that you've been to many a time, but what's your experience on the sim in these cars and such?
Well, I'll be perfectly honest with you. I haven't run the sim as much as I probably should, so that's going to be a little bit of a disadvantage tonight. I know some of these guys have been running some laps, but you know, Dover's a fun place. It's really, really fast, and I think tonight's going to be the same way. You know, we're already seeing a lot of speed here in qualifying. I had one really good lap and unfortunately somebody crashed in front of me and didn't get to finish the lap that I thought I was going to be on to have my fast lap so far. But all in all, just trying to get prepared for tonight and have some fun.
We've seen you as well a couple of times out with this series and starting to kind of get a smaller understanding of some of the familiar faces. Christopher Bell back with us tonight, but also a couple of new names. Denny's joining us tonight. He's at the top of the board right now, so he's kind of the name that you guys are shooting at. These Xfinity Series cars, again, very successful in them this season in a run for the championship. We've been running them here on Tuesday nights. What are some of the correlations you pick up between the two of them?
Well, I mean, there's a lot. Obviously, there's a good reason why a lot of us in the NASCAR ranks, train on iRacing, and I think it's because there is a great correlation between the two. And for me, I've been lucky enough now to really try to figure out the lines and having the time difference and the time split. That's all stuff that we'll never ever get real time in a race car. So learning different lines, whether to be easy in and get off the corner hard or vice versa, just understanding where everything is at really is a direct correlation for us, and something that I really look forward to trying to get on and seeing what the differences are between real life and here on the sim.
You guys have 30 laps. I know it's not a lot of time at Dover, and it looks like because that one lap did count, you guys get to find yourself in about 8th position or so, kind of mid-pack in this. What's the expectation and I think the mindset going into this to try to get the best result you can?
Well, it never fails. Coming off of 4 for whatever reason, really coming off of both corners, but especially coming off of 4 is extremely tricky. We've seen a lot of guys already in this practice session have some crashes, and so I think in the race that's not going to surprise me. Guys are going to get aggressive and push. I think you're going to be able to get to the outside and really pass some cars. I think it's going to be a fun race. 30 laps isn't a long time, so you're going to have to use all the tires up and make sure that when practice and the race is over, there's nothing left of the race car. You've given it your all.
Well, we hope that number 7 Chevrolet Camaro can get to the front tonight as well. Want to wish you the best of luck going forward in the rest of the NASCAR Xfinity Series this season. Justin, thanks for chatting with us.
Absolutely, guys. Thanks for having me on.
It's Justin Allgaier going to be competing tonight from Dover. He is your current points leader in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. And another driver from the NASCAR Xfinity Series with us tonight, Cisco, standing by with Blake Cook.
Yeah, I believe I've caught up with Blake Cook. We're trying to get his microphone all sorted. Blake, you got us?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, I'll tell you, sir, you, another one of these contenders in the Xfinity Series playoffs. You're sitting 10th in the point standings right now. You guys are heading to this track here coming up pretty soon. Is there anything have you been able to run the track at all in the sim this week?
Tonight's my first time, and I'm struggling quite a bit, so I got to find some speed.
Justin mentioned a little bit when we talked to him that one of the main differences, you have all this live timing, all this data that gets fed to you while you're in the race car. Does that kind of help you kind of get to learn lines, help you pick up speed a little bit?
Maybe, but it might be making me overdrive a little bit. I'm staring at that little ticker and it's been in the red the whole time, so I'm chasing it pretty bad.
I'll tell you what, you're going to be looking like you're going to start 10th here, but any expectations here when you head out on the racetrack?
Yeah, man, I mean, I'm going to win this thing. I think everybody signed up for tonight to try to win it, so just got to figure it out a little bit. They had a trouble last race I was in. There's quite a few cars crashed, so got to be there at the end.
I'll tell you what, a very confident Blake Cook sits in that number 11. Blake, good luck, and maybe we'll get to the chance to talk to you a little bit later.
All right, sounds good, man. Thanks.
That's a word with a couple of our drivers here tonight. Again, two Xfinity Series regulars that we just had an opportunity to chat with, Justin Allgaier and Blake Cook. They are driving their respective Xfinity Series machines tonight from Dover and Cisco. The open qualifying session is drawn to a close. Cars going to be headed trackside to get underway.
Yeah, they are, and Denny Hamlin continues to hold on to that lead at the top of the qualifying grid, but as the cars head to the starting grid, let's run you through your starting grid.
We take a look top to bottom at your RaceSpotTV starting grid, and it is the two-time winner this season in the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series, Denny Hamlin, who will start on a pole position tonight, a 22.551, good enough to lock up the top spot. Ben Kennedy back with us this evening will start for the outside of the front row in second. Parker Kligerman will roll off in third tonight, and Christopher Bell will start in fourth, continuing an onslaught of series regulars. Christian Eck is back with us again, and he will start tonight in fifth.
Yeah, Garrett Smithley's going to start 6th in that number 43. Raf Lassard's going to start 7th. Justin Allgaier, we just talked to him, is going to start 8th. 9th going to go to Myatt Snyder. Blake Cook going to start 10th. And Gracie Trotter rounds out your 11-car field here from Dover.
Look top to bottom at your starting grid. Let's talk about this Dover International Speedway. 24 degrees of banking. The biggest difference comparing this track to any other on the NASCAR circuit is it is a concrete surface. It races differently. Rubber gets put down a little bit differently. Not going to be a huge factor in this 30-lap sprint as it would be, say, when they go racing there this weekend in the Xfinity and the Cup Series for the likes of those drivers here tonight that will be competing this weekend at NASCAR's top ranks. But nonetheless, going to be an exciting one. Dover is always a racetrack that brings out that aggressive nature in a driver.
It does, and it also means there's not going to be a whole lot left of that right rear tire when this race is done. These guys, this track chews up tires, and these guys going to have to make sure they hold on to these race cars for a little bit of a sprint race, but nonetheless, tire management still very important here on the sim.
The field rolls now behind the iRacing.com official pace car. Double up top to bottom, 11 drivers with us tonight from Dover. And again, want to thank you for joining us for NASCAR Night on iRacing for this third round of the NASCAR iRacing Pro Invitational Series as we get set to go racing for 30 laps tonight from the Monster Mile. So, on the front row, Ben Kennedy has been with us for a couple of weeks so far this season and has a little bit more seat time on a regular basis in these cars. And with the cameras on with us on Tuesday nights, we will see if he has anything for the Cup Series regular. Denny Hamlin on the inside of the front row as we bring it at a turn number 4. Happy to have you with us this evening at RaceSpotTV and to iRacing Live. Denny Hamlin going to be the control car as he heads to the race start box and takes the American Ethanol green flag as we are underway.
Yeah, already gaining single file. Denny Hamlin got a great jump on the start there, side by side. Meanwhile, Parker Kligerman gonna get around Chris Bell in that number 6. He's stuck on the outside. Got to make sure he doesn't get freight train. Now to the bottom side goes Parker Kligerman, the number 9. Maybe looking to get to the inside of Ben Kennedy.
It's an aggressive move, forced it on, 6 up, still 2 by 2 by 2 for second on back. Here comes Parker Kligerman up the inside. He will get P2 from Ben Kennedy, set his sights on Hamlin as now Smithley to the inside in a battle for third.
Yeah, that battle continuing on. Smithley trying to follow through on what Kligerman did. Meanwhile, contact. Christopher Bell got very loose. A little bit of contact with that driver, Christian Eckes. They'll hold on to it there. And now looks like Chris Bell going to get shuffled back behind Cook, and around goes the 51. He's going to try and hold on to it. Myatt Snyder into Allgaier.
Allgaier going to get tagged, and that is it for the driver of the number 7 machine. Is a battle for the race lead, and Parker Kligerman, lap number 3, new race leader as he discards of Denny Hamlin and goes to the point, and Smithley, who's been following Kligerman to the field, to the inside. There goes Eckes as well, the 99, struggling early on.
And I'll tell you what, Garrett Smithley has been streaming this race on his own personal Twitch as well, and he's been driving very competitive, has been wanting to be up front all this entire season, Evan. He's doing it right now, sitting P2 right now, trying to follow in the footsteps and maybe get to the inside of Parker Kligerman here.
We heard last week from Bubba Wallace. We heard this week from the likes of Allgaier and other drivers who are somewhat familiar with the iRacing service, but I would argue that not many more are more familiar than the guys 1-2 right now, Kligerman and Smithley. It is not clear sailing, though, for the driver, the 43 in second, because Eckes, who has really shown to be a strong competitor in this series the last couple of weeks, is right there in a battle for P2. Denny Hamlin still hanging on to 4th behind, with Christopher Bell right now rounding through the top 5.
Yeah, Eckes has been on the back bumper of that 43 all race long so far, and is maybe looking to see if he can force a mistake out of Smithley. And as we saw, if you make a mistake like what we saw happen to Myatt Snyder, there's not much room for error here, Evan, because this is a very self-cleaning racetrack. Everything slides to the bottom. You don't want to get caught in a wreck.
Allgaier learned that the hard way. 3 drivers with issues early tonight. Myatt Snyder 1 lap down in 9th. Justin Allgaier 3 laps down in 10th. And Rafael Lassard in 11th position, 4 laps down. Nobody out of this race yet. You saw the big hit that the 7 took. Allgaier's been able to get that car fixed back out onto the racetrack, but lost a couple of laps in the process. The battle up front, though, still very much active. We noted that 30 laps at Dover is not a lot of time, especially when you compare that to the length of races that these guys are going to be running this weekend in NASCAR. Also, the 200 laps that we're going to see here in just a little bit for the NASCAR Peak Hannaford Series. But it is still a good amount of time to do something. Look at Smithley really dig and brush the fence that time at a 2. He's keeping Kligerman honest. The top 3 drivers with only half a second apart.
Yeah, and this is going to mean these guys starting accordion together, and that's going to mean they're all going to be next to each other, and if something happens here, there's not really going to be a whole lot to maneuver. It does mean, though, if you want to loosen up that guy in front of you, you have the opportunity to do so, Evan.
Yeah, well, we saw that happen right off the bat with the Kligerman, who made a move to the inside. Didn't really wreck Ben Kennedy. I'm not sure if he got into him, but he got awfully close, right leaning on that left rear quarter panel, and he worked his way through. Sometimes if there is not a passing lane, especially at a racetrack like Dover, you simply make a passing lane, and Kligerman's car nice and clean out in front. Smithley's had a little bit more of a physical fight up front, does have some back end damage, but he is closing the gap now, and I feel like an ensuing battle for the race lead is upcoming. Issues just a lap ago, though, did about it out for Gracie Trotter. The 5 machine got heavy damage in 1 and 2. She's brought that car to the pit lane. She's going to get back out there.
Yeah, she's got a backup car, so she'll be able to head back out there with a fresh car. And you see, this is going to be a little bit interesting as Kligerman gets very close to the fence there, but Smithley, I think he's got the Jaws music on already because he's starting to close in. He's just kind of lurking right now. He's waiting until a little bit later in the run to see if maybe he can take a run at Kligerman, maybe jump to the inside towards the end of this thing.
And Eckes is slowly falling out of this battle. He hasn't really lost any time. He's still right there at about 5 or 6 tenths of a second back. But Kligerman is starting to lose some time to Smithley. And you look at the course of this race, almost at the halfway point right now, working at lap number 12 of 30. The 43 can keep up this constant pace. He should be able to get to the 9. But Dover is a racetrack that is incredibly difficult to be consistent on the lap times, lap in and lap out. It's a racetrack that lends itself to you making some mistakes. We've seen both of the drivers up front get very close, if not into the wall, at a turn number 2 already tonight. So this one is far from decided. Kligerman now starting to stretch it back out a tad.
Yeah, also a little bit of a battle we've been seeing kind of on the peripherals of the shots here by Hugo Louise. You see Ben Kennedy and Christopher Bell going at it right now, and also a battle up for that second place position. Eckes closed the gap on Smithley, and it looks like that means Parker's been able to open up that gap a little bit, and Smithley's kind of fallen back to the driver of the 15. So 2 battles going on right now. That battle, though, for second, a lot closer. Eckes is there.
And the battle for 4th is possible because Bell and Kennedy were both able to get around Denny Hamlin. The 99 has had a little bit of damage as you see that battle for 2nd start to get physical. Eckes thinking that if he doesn't get by Smithley sooner than later, Kligerman is going to set sail into the sunset, and he is not going to have an opportunity to battle for the race lead in this thing. So, oh, how the tides have turned, and it is the 15 putting the pressure on.
And halfway this time, cross flags under the flag stand there, so it's not quite go time yet, but we're starting to get close. Eckes really closes in there to the 43 of Garrett Smithley, right onto the back bumper, but still leaves a little bit of a gap there. So Eckes going to have to maybe try something else. He could maybe feel up a little bit further up the groove a little bit. Maybe try something else. Either way, though, that 15 looks to my eye, Evan, a little bit faster than that 43.
And the ARCA driver in 3rd, Eckes, is not backing down from 43. This is exactly what Parker Kligerman would like to see. You guys want behind him to fight? Sure, be my guest. He is pulling away now to 4 tenths of a second of an advantage. That would be the biggest gap that he has had so far tonight. So as the battle for 2nd continues, it can only mean good news for him.
Yeah, and Eckes is continuing to close in right now. The 43, a little bit of a tap on the wall, and now maybe to the inside. No, he'll get the door shut on him there. Smithley says, no, thank you. You aren't jumping to the inside. I'm going to hold on to this position.
And he saw that inside line was open up a little bit, and the 15, you can see him right there, able to hold that car a lot lower, half a lane down the racetrack in the center than what the 43 is able to do. And in honesty, if Eckes was able to clear Smithley, right now he'd probably have the speed to at least get up there and dance with Kligerman for the race lead. But because the 43 is holding him up just that little bit, and there's no reason for Smithley to stick the hand out the window net and let him go on by, it's hurting the lap times to get both of these drivers. Parker Kligerman with clean racetrack in front of him is loving that. The driver who started in 3rd leads now almost 2/3 of the way through with 11 laps to go.
Yeah, 10 to go at the line this time for these guys. If you're wondering where Denny Hamlin went, he's fallen back to 6th. He's kind of alone on his island at the moment, and you got that battle continuing going on with Ben Kennedy and Christopher Bell going on 4th and 5th. Those two have continued to kind of keep that same gap, though it's starting to close up. And meanwhile, that battle for second, we just can't take our eyes off us because it's so close. And Smithley got a little bit loose out of 4, but he's been able to hold on to it so far.
Just want to update you on some more issues for other drivers. Blake Cook rounds out your top 10, or rather your lead lap cars, I should say, just hit out in 7th position. Snyder is still 2 laps down at 8th. Allgaier back out on track, as we noted, 6 laps down in the number 9 spot. And then Gracie Trotter found the number 5 Toyota in some more problems. That car came back down to the pit lane. She's back out in P10 at the moment. Only Lassard has been the only retiree so far to this point. His battle for P2 continues tonight from Dover International Speedway. And want to remind you that you have a unique opportunity courtesy of the folks at Dover International Speedway. If you log on to www.doverspeedway.com/sweepstakes, you can enter in to win a pair of hot passes and pit passes to the 2018 race weekend. Again, that's doverspeedway.com/sweepstakes. You can fill out the form there and an opportunity to win pit passes for the 2018 race weekend right here at Dover International Speedway.
Yeah, and that's a pretty cool deal that you can pick up. I know a couple people in that area are probably going to be signing on to enter into that sweepstakes. So I'd say go in there, put in your entry now before you beat someone like, oh, I don't know, Brian Mack into that.
And any, NASCAR event that you go to is exciting, no doubt. The NASCAR Camping World Truck's out by me this weekend. I'm for sure going to be hitting that event up this Saturday. But Dover's a fun track. That's something that has got to be on my list of a racetrack I'm going to get to. And Eckes, problems late in this race. We're closing in on 5 to go. He got a little bit overzealous there, closing it back to the bumper of Smithley. He really pounded the wall that time, and that might be it for him.
Yeah, that 15 doesn't look very happy after he made contact with that retaining barrier. So now, the closest battle right now is going to be between Ben Kennedy and Chris Bell. These two have not been able to lose each other. They've been nose to tail here. And now Kennedy actually going to get loose. He'll go into the wall and try and save it. Excellent save, though, by Kennedy. And he does not go around.
Hit the wall pretty good. He stays on the racetrack. Denny Hamlin, you saw, was right behind him. The 99. Hamlin picks up a spot, jumps back up to P5, and now all of a sudden finds himself at a back bumper of Bell at a battle that could be for 4th if Hamlin could find a little bit extra in this one. The gap between 1st and 2nd, though, is now 2 seconds. That fight for P2 really took a toll on Garrett Smithley, who no more than 15 laps ago looked like he was going to be the one close it into the back of Clickerman and challenging for the race win. Now with 3 laps to go, the 9 well out and in control.
Oh, and doing an excellent job while he's doing it, piloting that Toyota, and right behind him, Smithley's kind of opened up. He's kind of in the middle of nowhere. Eckes right now kind of open on his own. A little bit of a battle brewing, though. The 99 at Denny Hamlin, he's not out of this yet. Christopher Bell right in front of him. This could be a little battle towards the end of this thing here, Evan.
We'll see how aggressive that number 99 just wants to get in this thing. They're not all that far back from that limping 15 of Eckes, so it could become a 3-way fight all of a sudden. For the final spot inside of the top 3, Clickerman not worried about that. Smithley really struggled the last time, 8/10 off of the 9 as he had a big scare. No problems, though, he was able to keep it going to the white flag this time.
Yeah, Denny Hamlin, meanwhile, is inside of Christopher Bell. They'll go into turn number 3, even up at the moment. Hamlin going to slide a little bit up the groove, but it looks like he'll be able to hold on if he makes that line work. He'll have it. Yes, he won't quite clear him there. And yes, he will clear him going down into turn number 1.
So Hamlin going to win the battle for 4th. He's going to make a one last-ditched effort to get up to Eckes in a battle for 3rd, but all of that is well and far behind Parker Clickerman, who looked like from the drop of the green flag that he had the car to beat. He'll come out of turn number 4, take the checkered flag, and win tonight from Dover International Speedway. Clickerman finally able to put that number 9 Toyota in victory lane in this NASCAR iRacing Pro Invitational Series. Smithley does hang on to 2nd, and Eckes does maintain that 3rd with Hamlin and Bell through the top 5. Blake Cook P6, final driver on the lead lap.
And a lot of patience out of the driver from the 99. I mean, I'm not really surprised by that. Denny was just able, he fell back early, was able to rally, and an excellent job by him to work his way back through this field.
Continuing on through, Myatt Snyder comes home in 7th position, with Ben Kennedy coming home at 8th spot. Justin Allgaier finishes in 9th. Gracie Trotter going to round things out with 10th position. Final driver running on the racetrack and a spin across the start-finish line to close things out, avoiding the celebratory number 9 of Parker Cleveland on the front. And then Rafael Lassard did come home in 11th position tonight, and that rounded out our complete running order here tonight from the Dover International Speedway. And again, at the start of this thing, Denny Hamlin, fastest in the qualifying session, thought that the 99 machine was going to be the driver to beat, but right off of the start, I think those drivers with a tad bit more of race experience on the sim jumped all over him when we saw Kligerman and Smithley power to the front from 3rd and 6th.
Yeah, and we'll get the opportunity to talk to Parker here in just a little bit and find out his thoughts after this race. But yeah, absolutely. A lot of experience on the sim, that driver of Parker Kligerman. And I think we're getting ready to talk to him right now, Evan.
Who kind of followed you up to the field, showed no remorse right off of the start, and it kind of powered your way through early.
Yeah, that was I'm not sure what happened there because you know, after Denny and Ben Kennedy were so fast in qualifying, I was kind of thinking that I was most likely going to be relegated to 3rd there, but they both were just taking it so easy in those first couple laps. I was able to just hook the bottom and get the inside of both of them, and then from there, it was just taking care of the right front, you know. So that's what you got to do at this place. And the pace slowed down a ton, and I expected someone to come after me, but they never did. I think the biggest surprise here is that I said it to all the drivers in the server, I'm just quite hungover, so I'm really surprised against this talent level to be where I am right now. But hey, that was a lot of fun. Thanks for having me.
It was a good 30-lap sprint. Garrett did look like at about the lap 10 marker or so, once you guys had been able to get your way to the front, I had noted 2 of the drivers in this race that maybe had a little bit more experience than some of the other guys, that he was closing in on you. Eckes was right there in 3rd as well, and it looked like it was just a matter of time until he jumped all over you, until they started fighting for 2nd, and the next thing you know, they were nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, I mean, I was just trying to manage the gap. You know, as I said, I was just taking care of the right front, so you just don't want to get tight in these in iRacing a lot of times, and just generally at Dover, you know, you slow down. So I was looking at them, and you know, the gap was like about 5/10 there for the whole most of the run, and then right at the end, I saw them starting to race, and I started maybe pick up the pace a little bit, and was able to kind of stretch the gap towards the end. So I know them, if they maybe didn't get side by side, Garrett might have had something for me, but you know, they obviously did, and it didn't work out for them. But I don't know, that was a lot of fun. Once again, I'm surprised. I really didn't expect to win this, so really cool. I haven't won since May ARCA race last year, so this has been a long drought. I'm excited.
Well, for what it's worth, you can now add race winner in the NASCAR iRacing to Pro Invitational Series to the resume, getting the job done here at Dover. We'll let you take off, and we're appreciative of your time, Parker. Before we do, though, anybody you want to say hi to while we got you?
Sure thing. Yeah, just thanks to NBC Sports and NBCSN for obviously the great broadcast we try to give you guys each week. And be sure to tune in this weekend for Real Dover. And then lastly, I just did some YouTube stuff for the first time today. If you want to check out Parker's Parking Lot is my YouTube channel. So thanks all for having me. Appreciate it.
Winner tonight from Dover, Parker Clearman. Parker, thanks for chatting with us. Congratulations once more, and hopefully we'll catch you again in 2 weeks.
Sure thing. Look forward to it.
Race winner tonight, Parker Kligerman. Do want to remind you again, coming up at the top of the hour, the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series, right back here at Dover, as we continue into our post-race coverage tonight of the NASCAR iRacing to Pro Invitational Series. On the flip side, Cisco, of that fun battle for the race win, Garrett Smithley had a competitive car, comes home P2 tonight. Your trackside with him.
Yeah, absolutely. Garrett was on the opposite side of that battle with Parker Kligerman. But Garrett, you were up there. You worked your way up there. It was a really, really cool pass. You were all together kind of at the start of that race, and you were able to just stick to the bottom, made the car stick, and excellent passing. How was it out there, man?
Oh man, it was a blast. I'm so surprised that I said to my roommate who was sitting right next to me, I said, I think this one is going to be battle of attrition because, you know, it's the Monster Mile. You can get loose off the corner, slap the wall. You just have to drive so aggressively at this track to be fast. And I was so surprised. I mean, that was probably one of the most, you know, racy races that we've had, you know, in this series. So it was like, it was a lot of fun. Awesome start, you know, qualified sixth, and I knew if I was able to keep it clean that I'd have a shot, but to pull away like that, we were catching Parker there at the beginning, and I think I slapped the wall a couple times, and it kind of slowed us down a little bit, but yeah, it's just so much fun.
And you know, once upon a time, it's interesting because we got to cover one of your series that you ran here on iRacing for a little while, and I know you've been able to stream these races on Twitch. Are you able to spend as much time on the sim nowadays with the Xfinity duties and all that sort of stuff?
It's so tough when we're gone every single week on the Xfinity schedule. I told somebody this weekend, or this past weekend at Kentucky, we're towards the end of a 19 race in a row run without a break. Since May, we've been on the road somewhere every single weekend, and I think we finally do get a week off after Charlotte week. I think it's the second weekend in October. But I mean, I've been online racing, I mean, since before I even started racing. Bandoleros of Legend cars when I first started, but I love it. It's so much fun. You know, we did a little bit, some stuff with some of my other sponsors, real world sponsors with Ascors, and we did some other stuff earlier last year, and you know, now I'm starting streaming. I stream this live. I'm actually streaming right now on my Twitch channel, Twitch TV /GSmithley43. Shameless plug, but no, it's so much fun getting out here running. I remember before I even got into NASCAR, I remember watching before when iRacing did the Pro Invitational for the one race, and then now to get invited to do this series, and you know, now 3 races in, I really hope, I talked to Otto, and I was like, I really hope that they put a 1.5 mile track in, because man, I got something for him on these 1.5 mile tracks on iRacing.
I'll tell you what, Garrett, it was a great run for you out there. Hashtag number nothing, making it happen here at Dover. Any last minute shout outs anyone want to say hello to here before we let you go?
I think we had Fame on the car. I don't have training paints downloaded right now. Again, just, you know, being so busy, it's tough. But I think we got Kentucky Fame and Fame on the car. And just, you know, it's just so much fun. Thanks to NASCAR and iRacing to put this on. And then all the drivers that come out, you know, we have a blast doing this stuff. I hope that we can continue doing this maybe in the off season and doing some more of this with some of the real world drivers that we race on a weekly basis. And, you know, cool to race with Denny, and cool to race with Justin Allgaier and Blake Cook and some of those guys that we get to race every weekend. And you know, I told Parker, I said after the race, I was like, you should win this race because you get to do this every week, you know, on iRacing on NBC. So I know he was joking around with that, but now we have a good time, and hope to do it again in a couple weeks.
Well, it's Garrett Smithley, driver of the 43, finished the second here from Dover, and Garrett, we'll see you around, man.
Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
That's a word with your 2 top finishers here tonight from Dover. Let's take a look top to bottom one more time at your RaceSpotTV full race results tonight from Dover. The 3rd race on this NASCAR iRacing Pro Invitational Series. Parker Kligerman started from 3rd, but he led most of the laps and controlled the pace of this race en route to his first win in this series. Garrett Smithley, you just heard from him, came charging to the field. One of your biggest movers this evening goes 6th to 2nd to get a top 2 finish this evening. Christian Atkins, series regular, coming home in 3rd tonight. Denny Hamlin started on pole, fell back to 6th at one point, is able to recover for a P4 finish. And Christopher Bell once again with us tonight. Another solid result for the 6th team in 5th.
Yeah, absolutely. 6th going to go to Blake Cook, 7th to Myatt Snyder, 8th to Ben Kennedy, 9th to Justin Allgaier. Rounding out your top 10 is Gracie Trotter, and then Ralph Lessard rounds out your 11 car field.
Said it once already, and again, I want to remind you that if you go to doverspeedway.com/sweepstakes, you could enter to win pit passes to a 2018 race weekend right here at Dover International Speedway on the real world side of things, not on the sim. You're welcome back here anytime, but again, that's doverspeedway.com/sweepstakes, and you can enter in. All you got to do is enter in your email, your first, your last name, and you could also choose your favorite drivers. Some of them may have been competing here tonight, and as we start to look to close out now this third race on this series, Cisco, and look forward, 3 down, 1 more to go, but NASCAR night is far from done here on the RaceSpotTV iRacing Live, of course, with our friends at Fans Choice TV and the Motor Racing Network, because the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series is going to be coming up next, and we're sticking right here in Dover, Delaware for that one.
Yeah, and from what I've heard, a lot of guys out there practicing already and trying to find a lot of tire conservation. That's going to be the name of the game here in about 20 minutes or so. So that's we're looking forward to that. That's going to be a lot of fun.
It is the second to last race of the season, and it is an elimination race as we head into tonight's NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series event with 7 drivers vying for 3 transfer spots into NASCAR's only official esports sanctioned series. Is final and only, for that matter, first time ever. It's a playoff, and we will learn the name of the 4 drivers who will fight for that championship at Homestead, Miami here in just a little bit. But until then, on behalf of the entire team here at RaceSpotTV, for Cisco Scarbosa, Hugo Luis, and myself, Evan Pasoko, I want to thank you for tuning in to the first part of NASCAR Night. Coverage of tonight's NASCAR iRacing Pro Invitational Series at iRacing Live, and congratulations to Parker Klingerman, your winner from Dover, 3rd different winner in 3 weeks of this thing. The night is just getting underway. When we come back, we will stay here at Dover, but we transition over to our coverage of the 2017 NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series, powered by iRacing. That one is right here at iRacing Live. Keep it dialed in, and we'll be back in a moment. The NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series playoffs continue to Dover, Delaware for the final race on the round of 8, where 3 drivers look to points or win their way in to join Ray Alfala on the Championship 4 grid. You can catch all that action on RaceSpotTV and iRacing.com/live.
It's where fans shout. It's where cars scream. Where every color is represented, yet it's all red, white, and blue. It's high-flying, eye-popping, rip-roaring fun. The kind you wait for. The kind you live for. The kind you never, ever forget. Dover International Speedway. Experience traditions. Cemented in Dover.